Hey everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is staying safe, staying healthy. Thank you everyone who's tuning in. I have some powerful strategies, activities that can help with um, helping our students, children achieve a more self-regulated system, right? So these are calming strategies with calming in quotations because everybody experiences things differently, right? So this is a big thing to note. It's a big disclaimer to say is that although these are considered calming strategies, what is calming to one person might be aversive to another, just like with sense, just like with touch, right? Deep touch, light touch, different kinds of experiences can be calming to one person and they can be very uncomfortable to another person. So these are generally calming strategies, but it's important to keep in mind that they can make different people feel differently. Okay, so 3 effective self-regulation strategies for calming. Okay, generally are calming. All right, so let's get started. Number one is called our tense and relax. So for tense and relax, we start with our hands. So try it along with me. First thing we're gonna do is squeeze our fists. Squeeze your fists tight, tight, strong, as tight as you can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And let your fists go. Okay. Next, we move up to the arms. So squeeze those arms. You might feel your fists tighten up. That's okay. Squeeze those arms close to you as tight as you can. Squeeze your arms. Maybe you're squeezing your fist as well. Squeeze it tight, tight, tight. Just one more second and let it go. Okay, now we move down to our feet. So we start with our toes. Squeeze your toes. So curl those toes, squeeze them tight. Might feel a little bit awkward, but see if you can squeeze your toes tight. So squeeze them just for another second. Big squeeze here and let it go. And then we move up to the leg. So now we're squeezing our legs. All right, so you might see that your toes are squeezing as well, or your toes might be pointing upwards. That's okay, as long as you're squeezing those legs. See if you can squeeze the big muscles of your legs, however it looks, however it might feel. Squeeze those big muscles of the legs, squeeze the legs, and let the legs go. Okay, next we're moving to our face. So it might look a little bit silly, but everybody squeeze your face. So maybe you're squeezing your eyes, maybe you're squeezing your nose, maybe your mouth, your cheeks. Let's see if you can squeeze your face tight, tight, tight. Let your face go. Okay, and one final squeeze. We're gonna squeeze everything. So squeeze those fists, arms, toes, legs, face. Squeeze your whole body. So squeeze tight, 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 and let everything go. Okay, we could take a deep, big breath here. Breathing in and breathing everything out. Okay, we could do one more. Breathing in. Notice anywhere that we might be feeling tight or tension, maybe our shoulders or our body or our legs. See if we can let it go on our breath out. Okay, and one more final big breath in here. Bring it all in. And anything we have left, any tension, we're gonna let it out with a sigh. On 3, 1, 2, 3, we sigh. Ah. All right, so how do you feel? So this is really one of my favorite ones. It's really a good way to not only help with calming of our muscles and our whole muscular system, but it's calming to our nervous system as well, right? A lot of times what happens is our nervous system is what's giving us a lot of energy. Sometimes we think that a student is behaving bad or a child is behaving bad, but really it could just be that that nervous system is full of energy. right? We have our fight and flight response. And our nervous system could be wired differently, where it's picking up different experiences as stressful experiences, which we might not consider stressful. But that person is processing and perceiving it as stressful, and their fight or flight, which is an automatic response, is triggering or firing a fight or flight response, which is giving increased energy to the body. So if that energy is not used, it becomes stored in the body. It gets stuck in the body. So that's why we might see that after years, if that um, energy doesn't get out of the body, and this is happening, right? If a person experiences things as stressful and their fight or flight response doesn't know what's stressful, what's not, it's reacting to situations that seem calm with this fight or flight response, then that's a lot of energy that's not getting properly used and not getting discharged out of the body. So it's slowly and slowly getting stuck in the body, right? And that's something that can make our nervous system feel not regulated, right? Dysregulation, they would call it, okay? But everybody experiences this. So it's not that only one person or only certain people have this kind of dysregulation, right? So the real focus here, I don't want to focus on that word. The real focus is finding ways to help regulate, to help find that balance, that homeostasis, that equilibrium, right? So this is a great activity, and this is number one. Before I talk too much, let me bring you into number two. Okay, number 2 and 3 are both breathing activities. So, excuse me, breathing is huge. It's a really good self-regulation activity because it helps to stop our fight or flight responses, right? We have an automatic system that um, if it feels like it's a stressful environment in our brain, then it has um, ties to our gut. It sends out energy, and it starts this fight or flight response. Okay, so that's in our nervous system. So when we're doing big breathing exercises, we're bringing extra oxygen into the body, right? It's filling up our capillaries with lungs, It's filling up our capillaries in our lungs. It's filling up capillaries with oxygen, carrying blood, which is carrying nutrients, vitamins, minerals, healthy blood cells to all of our organs, including our brain, including our heart, right? So we're bringing oxygen in. It's actually something that can stop that response of stressful situation and help to promote a more regulated response. So it's good for regulation. Okay, so number two, the second one is our balloon breath. Okay, so we can do this either sitting or we can do it laying down. And what we're going to do is you can have your hands on your belly, you can have your hands on the side. Remember, sitting or laying. All right, what I want us to do is imagine that we have a balloon inside of our belly. Okay, we're going to breathe in big breath through the nose. And I want to pay attention to how the air travels down into that balloon to fill that balloon up. We can have our hands in our belly to feel that balloon so that when we're breathing in through our nose, okay, we don't want to move our chest, so our breathing in shouldn't look like this. Our breathing in should come from the belly. Right? So if you're looking at my belly, my chest is not even moving. But you can see how my hands are moving. This is our balloon breathing. All right, so we're focusing on that air going into our nose, all the way down, filling up our balloon, and we feel it with our hands. And then when we blow out, we're going to feel that air coming out and deflating from our balloon. So let's see if we can try 10 balloon breaths together. Okay, so let's start. Ready? So we breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the nose. 1, in through the nose. Feeling that air coming in and out through the nose. Feeling that balloon deflate. 2. Number 3. Feel the air come in and blow it out. Remember, the chest isn't moving. It's all from our balloon in our belly, balloon in our tummy. Okay, that's 4. Number 5. And blow it out. Good, almost halfway there. Number 6. If there is a little movement at the chest, it's okay. But make sure we're focusing on the balloon in the belly. So we're breathing in. Feel the air traveling to that balloon. And when we breathe out, we feel that air leaving the balloon. 7. 3 more. Breathe in. Number 8. And breathe out. Just 2 more. Number 9. Beautiful. And last one, number 10. Big breath into our balloon. Fill our balloon all the way. And we deflate it. Breathing all our air out. Okay, so don't have to always do 10 breaths like this, but it's a really good activity because it promotes awareness and mindfulness as well when we start to visualize our breathing going down to fill that balloon and the breathing coming up to leave that balloon. So it really engages our senses by making us think and visualize about what's going on. So instead of maybe being distracted by outside things, it helps to bring our attention inward. Okay, so breathing is really, really huge for self-regulation for some of the reasons I was saying before, but also one of the most important ones that I love to tell people is that breathing actually comes from 2 different parts of our brain when we're doing conscious, aware breathing versus breathing that's just happening on its own. So breathing that's happening throughout the day that we're not paying attention to, it's coming from a part of our brain that's responsible for just survival, right? It's more of our reflexive brain that's taking care of our breathing during the day, because that kind of breathing is just to sustain us, just to give us life and keep us alive. When we do breathing like this, where we're focusing on the breathing, that's coming from our higher brain, it's called, right? Our cerebral cortex, which is where we have our executive functioning, decision-making, judgment, right? Our emotions. So when we tune into our breath in a conscious way, when we become aware of our breathing, which just means that we're thinking about our breathing, counting it out loud, balloon breathing like this, right? That's actually forming different connections where we're getting our problem solving, our judgment, our emotional center involved. So sometimes when we're feeling like we're not in control of a situation, right? Self-regulation is something that we can do on our own through breathing. There's so many different breathing activities, right? And I have some more videos I'm going to be putting of even more breathing activities because, again, different things feel different for everybody. So finding something that feels good for you, for your student, for your child, these are things that anybody can practice, right? Just to help, a lot of our systems are not fully in equilibrium, right? Homeostasis, it's not our natural state of our nervous system. Our nervous system is usually more in a responsive state, more in a stress response. That's how our body is wired. It's how our body is created, right? To be on alert. And if need, then put in that fight or flight so we know how to react to a situation. What do we do? Do we move? Do we react? Do we run? So our body is always trying to figure out what to do for survival, right? We are programmed to survive. That's why we're breathing without realizing it, for survival, right? So when we focus on our breathing, we become aware, conscious of our breathing, and it actually comes from a different part of our brain, our higher brain. So it's actually engaging our problem solving and judgment and emotions. So sometimes if we're not feeling like we're able to respond correctly, or for our children, our students, if they're having a hard time focusing, right? It's because that problem solving, executive function center, judgment, right? Emotions, insight, that part is not part of the process right now. So that breathing, if we can stop, take a break, pause, and do some conscious kind of breathing, then that's a way to get those systems involved, get that judgment, problem solving, emotional kind of mind involved. And that way, we can have a different kind of perspective on a situation. So it's a really good self-regulation activity. All right. And I have one more for you, number 3. So our first one was our tense and relax. Our second one was our balloon breathing. Our third one is belly breathing. Okay. Balloon breathing. We are breathing from our bellies with our hands on our bellies, and we're imagining a balloon inside of our tummy that we're inhaling to fill it up and exhaling to deflate it. Okay. Belly breathing is a little bit similar, but we don't have to visualize a balloon. Okay. All we're going to do is we can also do this sitting or laying, and you could just put one hand on the belly. Okay. And in balloon breathing, we're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. With our belly breathing, we can breathe out of the mouth. We can do it laying down, like I said, sitting back. You can have one hand on your chest. Okay. You can have your hands both on your belly. You can have them on the side, on your ribs, just to feel how your ribs go up. Okay. So we don't have to visualize a balloon or visualize any air. All I want us to do is focus on our bellies. Make sure that when we're breathing, we're filling our belly up with air and expanding our belly to breathe in. And when we blow out, we can breathe out of our mouth, but we're squeezing our belly. So we're actually squeezing in our belly to blow the air out. Okay, so we're going to try 10 belly breaths. Remember, laying down is actually easier. If some students or children are having some trouble kind of getting this belly breathing down, you can try laying down. Laying down is effective because you can actually see your belly rising a lot easier. So it's easier to get that feedback if you're doing it correctly. All right, so we'll try 10 belly breaths together. Okay, so they look like this. Inhale, fill up the belly. Expand that belly, and then squeeze that belly tight to get all the air out and blow out of our mouth. 1. Inhale, fill up that belly, and blow it all out. Squeeze the belly tight. 2. Okay, expand your belly, open it up, fill it up with air, and blow all of that air out. Squeeze your belly tight. 3. Okay, in through the nose, breathe in, fill that belly up, and out. Squeeze your belly tight, blow it all out of your mouth. 4. Keep going. Number 5, breathe in. Squeeze your belly tight, blow it out. 6, breathe in. And out. 7, breathe in through the nose. Fill your belly up with air and squeeze it tight. 8, 2 more, in through the nose. And blow it all out. Squeeze the belly tight. 9, last one, biggest breath. Let all the air come into that belly. Open that belly as wide as you can. And squeeze that belly tight. Get all the air out. And we relax. So take a moment to see how you feel. All right, with this breathing, right, we can say that we invite a student, we invite a child, or for anyone who's doing it, I invite you to try to do it with your eyes closed if you like. But eyes closed is not for everybody. Sometimes eyes closed can actually give an uncomfortable experience. So we don't need to push eyes closed because that's not for everybody. Okay, if your eyes are open, that's fine, right? And maybe we're just looking at a certain point, taking our gaze somewhere comfortable, focusing on a color, focusing on a picture, focusing on something that we want to focus on, right? Remember, however the breathing looks or the tense and release, however it looks, is exactly perfect because it's different for everybody. There's no right way to do it. We can just try to use our belly or try to squeeze certain muscles when we're doing it, right? So I really like teaching self-regulation, and I know I might be talking for a long time, so I don't know if anyone is going to be watching all of this, um, but it's just really helpful, and it's important to teach because once we're able to learn how to regulate our systems, right, and we start to become aware of our breathing or different strategies that can help to calm us down. And remember, these are calming strategies, but they might not be comfortable for everybody. They might be uncomfortable for some people. So it's important to see what works best for you. Okay, I like to also tell parents that you can observe your child or your student by seeing their bodily response to these different strategies to see how they're feeling, right? So, for example, when we're in a hyper state of arousal, right, when that fight or flight is turned on, our pupils are dilated, our pupils are bigger, right, so that they can take in more information. So you can take a look at the pupils, right? We can start to be observant to not only how our child or student is acting, but some of these physical symptoms, or not symptoms, but just physical expressions that the body is showing us. So we can pay attention to the pupils. Are the pupils small or are they dilated, right? That fight or flight response, our pupils are dilated, they're big. Okay, our heart rate is fast. We can learn how to take heart rate, take pulse, right? So you don't want to use your thumb, you want to use your fingers, and it's here on the thumb side, a little bit in the middle, but then slightly over to that thumb side. Okay, and you can count it for a minute or 30 seconds. Okay, you can do 10 or 15 seconds as well and just multiply it to see how many beats in a minute. Okay, respiratory rate, how many inhalations and exhalations is a child or student taking in a minute? Same thing, can do a minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. Okay, so even through the computer, you can see how many breaths they're taking. All right, so if a child is taking a lot of short, rapid breaths, then doing something like this, a little bit more regulated breathing, would be shorter, deeper breaths. Longer, deeper breaths, right? So the short, rapid one. Same thing with the heart rate. Our heart rate is increased when we're in a more increased state of arousal, alertness, right? That fight or flight. We're on edge, kind of looking how we should respond. It's hard to sit and focus in that kind of an experience when our brain is experiencing that. So these self-regulation techniques, strategies are huge, right? They're a really good way to promote that calm, homeostasis, equilibrium of the body, which is going to then allow increased attention, increased focus, which is going to allow increased learning and increased retention of things learned, right? So instead of saying that this is bad behavior, right? Instead, see what we can do about it. See if we can help that child or student learn different strategies or techniques that they can apply, or for our parents or teachers, right? These are techniques that can be helpful to apply to help with that response. Okay, so instead of trying to, kind of get discouraged by sometimes a lot of attention, sometimes, seeing these responses that we're not able to focus, not able to pay attention, here are some effective strategies of what we can do. Okay, so I hope they're helpful. I hope it's helpful. And another thing we can look for is the muscle tone, the muscle tension, right? That first tense and relax. It's really squeezing our muscles and letting them go is a nice way to kind of any tension or stress that is in the muscular system, in those muscles, it kind of gets squeezed and open, squeezed and open, promoting circulation and pushing it back into the trunk, back into circulation. So it kind of gets out of the spot that it might be stuck in, right? That tense and relax is a way to boost that circulation and push any stuck energy kind of out, back into the trunk, back through the system to get recycled, right? So these are all three top calming activities. And not only do they help with self-regulation, but they help to develop rapport relationship, and trust. When a person does these activities with their student, with their child, right? You can also maybe talk about how it makes you feel. Maybe you can open up about your own experiences, right? I'm sure we've all felt sometimes being on edge, sometimes, having that kind of fight or flight response, whether we're aware of it or not. Our body is doing it, right? It's hard to sit down where we have a lot of thoughts, our heart is racing, maybe we're sweating, okay? Maybe we have dry mouth, right? So it stops saliva production, right? If we check out the fight or flight response. So, we can see these kind of physical responses in the body, and just being aware of them, being aware of our child, our student, we can just help them to learn how to find regulation within themselves. Okay, and it's very, very important, and it's very helpful. So here is my 3 top calming self-regulation activities, and I hope they're helpful, right? And I hope they could even be helpful for you. So breathing is awesome. Okay, so breathing is great, something that can be incorporated into the daily routine. So try it out, right? Sometimes trying out daily breathing, maybe in the mornings or in the evenings, okay, is a really good one, not only for de-escalation, but routine as well. It can be really helpful for our nervous system. Okay, so hope it's helpful. All right, apologies if I'm rambling. I don't have a timer. I don't know how long the video is. So thank you everyone for tuning in. All right, and I wish everyone well. All right, thank you so much for watching, everyone. All the best. Take care.